Her name wasn't on the guest list, but she was the main event. It was the kind of wedding that shut down the city. The senator's daughter married the heir to a billion-naira conglomerate, gold-trimmed invitations, helicopters hovering, a guest list dripping with politicians, socialites, and men with secrets in their smiles. And yet, as the bride glided down the aisle in her diamond-studded gown, every head turned, not toward her, but toward the back of the cathedral. Because the tall woman who had just walked in wore a simple black gown, heels that echoed like gunshots, and a face no one could forget, even though they had all tried to. She didn't sit, she didn't speak, she just stood at the back, arms folded. The moment the groom saw her, his hand trembled in the bride's. The priest paused, the bride blinked, and the woman smiled. Only one person recognized her immediately, Mommy Tessie, the high-ranking event planner, who had helped bury the past under cement and silence 10 years ago. But the past had walked in, wearing black, and she came uninvited. By the time the couple said, "I do," the woman was gone, but her name would be trending by nightfall, because before anyone left the reception, someone collapsed, someone screamed, and someone went missing. If only they knew she came for revenge, not mercy. Her name was Chisholm, but 10 years ago, she had another one. Later that evening, gossip traveled faster than the DJ could change tracks. Who was she? Did you see the way the groom froze? Why did Mommy Tessie nearly faint? Some swore it was a ghost, others whispered of an ex-lover, but only 2 people knew the truth, and both were breaking down in different corners of the reception hall. Mommy Tessie, shaking in the VIP tent, kept dabbing her forehead, muttering, "It can't be her. We fixed it. She died. She was supposed to stay dead." And the groom, Tobechukwu Nwakwo, was staring into his champagne glass like it held a confession. His new bride, Amarachi, was smiling through photos, but she could feel something wasn't right. Tobe's hands were cold. His kisses were mechanical. Something or someone had hijacked their big day. She checked into a luxury hotel under the name Chisholm Onyema, but that wasn't her birth name. 10 years ago, she had another name, a name that vanished with a scandal buried so deep it had nearly destroyed her. She stood on the hotel balcony that night, staring at the city skyline, remembering the night she was framed for a crime she didn't commit, the video that was leaked, edited to ruin her, the powerful hands that buried the truth, handed her over to the press and left her to rot in shame. How she disappeared, not because she ran, but because someone made sure she never got a chance to speak. They thought she was gone, but she had watched them rise. Influencers, business moguls, politicians, all built on the lie they sold the world. And now she was back. The next morning, every major blog and gossip page posted the same thing. Breaking: groom from high-profile wedding accused of assault by anonymous source. She was just 17. The article included a blurry, time-stamped photo from a decade ago. The comments exploded. Endorsements began pulling out. Tobe's face began to rot online, and beneath the article was a cryptic comment from a fake account. "That's strike one. I'll be seeing you soon. See." In a dim room across town, Mommy Tessie made a call. Her hands trembled as the person on the other line answered. "She's back," Tessie said. A silence followed. Then a cold male voice responded. "I told you to finish it 10 years ago," Tessie whispered. "She's not the same girl. This time, she is dangerous." The Nwakwo household was under siege, not by police, but by journalists. Tobe's PR team released a shaky statement claiming the article was false, an attack by bitter enemies. But the internet wasn't buying it. The leaked photo had a timestamp, the girl in it, barely 17. His groomsmen had gone silent. The bride's family had called for a meeting, and his mother, a senator's wife, had left Lagos for an urgent retreat abroad. But the worst was still coming. She entered Skyline FM 101.3, the top talk radio station in the city, with a flash drive in her purse and confidence in her steps. She didn't ask to speak to the host. She spoke to the intern, showed a photo, and whispered, "Play this recording at exactly 4:15 p.m. on today's show. If you don't, I send it to your competitors." She walked out before they could even ask her name. In the middle of rush hour traffic, radios across the city played a recorded conversation. A female voice cried, "You said if I didn't do what you asked, you would reel me. You leaked my photos. Tobe, I was a child." His voice followed, proud and laughing. "You think anyone will believe you? I own this city. You are nothing." Then the voice again, "One day, I'll be something, and you will wish you killed me instead." It was undeniably his voice, old but clear. People paused their cars. TV news anchors broke off scheduled programs. By evening, protesters had gathered in front of the Nwakwo mansion. Online, the hashtag Justice for Her trended globally. The company's stock plummeted. At a rooftop bar in Victoria Island, Mommy Tessie met with three others, Sadike, an oil magnate known for throwing lavish private parties, Mrs. Ireti Ojo, a social media philanthropist with a foundation for empowering girls, and Barrister Kolade, the lawyer who cleaned up the scandal 10 years ago. Tessie threw her phone on the table. The recorded broadcast was playing again. "She is exposing us, and this is just the beginning," she said. Kolade sipped his whiskey and asked coldly, "What exactly did you do with the original girl's body back then?" Tessie's eyes widened. I thought she died," she stammered. "She wasn't breathing. We dumped her in the lagoon that night." Clearly, DK Cotton, she didn't drown. Chisom, in a rented apartment in Surulere, pulls out a dusty box. Inside are old photos, journal pages, and a list. 6 names, 3 already crossed out. She circles the next name in red, Mrs. Ireti Ojo. She looks at the camera mounted in the corner of her room and says, "Let's see how you like being exposed in front of your donors." Then she smacks. 4 more to go. Mrs. Ireti Ojo was the kind of woman magazines loved. Elegant, charitable, soft-spoken. Her foundation, Daughters of Tomorrow, had helped over 10,000 underprivileged girls, or so everyone believed. But behind closed doors, she was something else. She ran a secret network, pairing poor girls to be gifted to her wealthy donors. Girls who disappeared after a few months, shipped abroad under scholarship schemes, never heard from again. And Chisom had been one of them. At a prestigious women's empowerment conference at the Eko Hotel, Mrs. Ireti was set to receive the African Angel Award. They all glittered with elegance. Women wore gaily as high as thrones. Cameras flashed. Brands paid millions to be associated with her. As she walked up to the podium, bathed in gold light, a massive projector screen flickered behind her, and a video began to play. Not the one her PR team had prepared. Not even close. It was a hidden camera video from 10 years ago. A younger Ireti in her office saying, "They are village girls, no parents, no future. We are saving them, yes, but in return, they serve our people. It's business." She laughed. So did a blood male voice in the background. "I don't see the problem. They eat, they are clothed, and if they live broken, well, they weren't built to last." The hall fell silent. Then chaos erupted. The aftermath, sponsors pulled out. Police were waiting outside. Social media exploded. Ireti exposed trended #1. But Ireti wasn't going quietly. She screamed at the cameras as security dragged her out. "She's not dead. You said she was dead." Everyone turned. Cameras zoomed in. That one line, broadcast live, became the nail in her reputation's coffin. Chisom watched it all unfold on her laptop. Calm, silent, another name crossed off her list. But then a knock on the door. She reached slowly for the knife she kept under the table. "Who is it?" she called. A familiar voice replied. "If you are going to keep winning, you will need help. Open up." She hesitated, then opened the door. It was Uzo, her childhood friend, the one she had thought betrayed her all those years ago by testifying against her. He looked older, worn, regretful. "You were never supposed to go that way alone," he said, stepping in. That night, after they talked, Uzo stepped outside to take a call. He whispered, "I found her. Yes, she trusts me again." A voice on the other hand said, "Good. Keep her close. We will decide later if she dies or disappears again." Sadike, oil tycoon, billionaire, friend to governors, enemy to none, because those who opposed him disappeared. He was the kind of man whose hands were never dirty, yet always smelled of blood and smoke. Chisom remembered him well. He had been the one who told her she was his reward. After a successful oil deal 10 years ago, he had whispered in her ear, drunk on champagne and power, "Pretty things like you don't belong in school. You belong on powerful laps." She had fought back then and paid the price. Chisom knew she couldn't humiliate DK the same way she did the others. He didn't fear shame. He lived off it. So she sent him a gift, a gold enveloped invitation signed by a fabricated media agency, inviting him to receive a Lifetime Legacy Award at a fake event held in a high-rise penthouse. He took the bait. The lights were dim, champagne was served, cameras were hidden. Chisom wore a sleek black dress, ear up, confident, radiant. She introduced herself not as Chisom but as Ngozi Imade, the event host. DK's eyes scanned her slowly. "You remind me of someone, a girl I once had, years ago." She smiled tightly. "I hear you've had many." He chuckled. "That's power, my dear." Projectors came on. Behind DK, video footage played. Scenes of his secret sex parties. Young girls, many drugged, including one who cried, "Please let me go." The crowd, actors, journalists, and influencers planted by Chisom gasped. DK spun around, stunned, enraged. He turned to Chisom. "Who are you?" She leaned in slowly. "The girl you said had no future. The girl who bled and begged while you laughed. The girl you thought drowned." DK charged at her, furious, but before he could touch her, security, paid off by Chisom, dragged him down. The cameras rolled. That night, DK's companies were raided, his passport flagged. Several top officials linked to him were arrested. One girl, one of Chisom's former roommates, saw the video online and reached out. She said, "I survived too. I want to help." Chisom now had witnesses, but then something went horribly wrong. As Chisom celebrated, Uzo, our returned friend, entered with panic in his eyes. "Someone has been watching you. That girl who just contacted you. They found her." He showed her a video. The girl was lying motionless in a car trunk. A message was carved into her arm with a blade. "Stop digging." Chisom froze. The nightmare wasn't over. It had just evolved. Later that night, she found a single white rose placed on her bed. No one had been in the room. The doors were locked. Her breath caught. A memory surfaced. Madame Tessie used to place white roses on girls' beds the night before they were given away. She whispered to herself, trembling, "They know where I sleep." The hunter had become the hunted. Chisom didn't sleep that night. She stared at the white rose for hours, a symbol from the past, a message that said, "We own you, we see you, we take you again." But they were wrong. She wasn't that 15-year-old girl anymore. She didn't fear the dark now. She had become it. The next morning, Chisom placed a small recording device under the desk drawer before Uzo returned. When he came back carrying breakfast, pretending everything was fine, she played along. He smiled, talked about plans, asked about her next target. But once he stepped out for a fake call, she played the recording. Yes, sir. She is working off a list. She took down DK and Direti. If you want her gone, you will have to act fast. She's getting bold. She sat still, the hair around her heavy, her lips tight. She had trusted him again. She looked at the knife on the kitchen counter, but this time she picked up her phone instead. Later that day, her TV screen flickered to life on its own. It wasn't act, it was a live stream, a private channel Tessie used during training days. The screen showed a young girl, about 13, crying in a cold metal room. Then Tessie appeared, older but still venomous, sipping from a wine glass as she faced the camera. You've been busy, Chisom. Quite the fire you've become. But don't forget, I raised you in the flames. She leaned closer to the camera. You have 48 hours. Turn yourself in or the girl dies. The screen went black. Chisom ran, not away, but straight into the fire. She reached out to the only woman who had once offered her help during her time in the system, Auntie Bisi, now a high-ranking officer in NAPTIP, Nigeria's human trafficking agency. But Bisi warned, "You're doing good work, but illegally. I can't protect you if you cross the line again, but I will give you names and locations." Then she looked her in the eye. "Just know this, you started a war. Either you bury them or they bury you." She returned home and found Uzo waiting. "I can explain," he said. She stared at him blankly. Then she handed him a note. "Deliver this to Tessie. Alone." Uzo blinked. "That's it?" She nodded. "Tell her I want to trade. Me for the girl. Just like old times." His eyes widened. "Are you serious?" She smiled, but there was nothing soft in that smile anymore. Dead serious. Inside the note was a tracker and a virus drive. Once Uzo delivered it, Tessie's private network began leaking data to the cloud. Names of elite clients, bank transfers, video files of auctions. Chisom was done playing fair. She wasn't just exposing them anymore. She was dismantling their empire. At the end of this segment, Chisom receives a call from a blocked number. She answers, expecting a threat, but the voice says, "You are not the only one, Auntie Tessie. We've waited years. Let us help. But we don't do mercy. We burn everything." The line goes dead. She stares at her screen, pulse racing. Who are they? And can she trust them? Or are they just another monster in disguise? Chisom didn't wait for the strange caller to reach back. She traced the tracker hidden in a decoy letter and stormed the safe house with the help of Bisi's most trusted agents. But it wasn't safe at all. It was underground, masked as a rehabilitation center for troubled girls. Inside, 11 girls, chained, drugged, and silenced. One of them, the same girl from the video, was barely conscious. As Chisom reached her, the girl opened her mouth and whispered, "They said you would come. They said you used to be like us." Tears stung Chisom's eyes. "I was, and I promise, this ends tonight." But as they escaped, a black van blocked their exit. Gunmen opened fire. Bisi's agents returned fire. 2 were hit. Chisom shielded the girl with her own body as they crawled into a drainage tunnel behind the building, escaping into the city's sewage maze. By morning, they were safe, but barely. And then, Chisom received a letter slid under her hotel door. No name, no stamp, just 4 words, written in blood-red ink. "You forgot your sister." Her heart stopped. She had no sister. Or did she? Bisi finally broke. She took Chisom to a sealed room in NAPTIP headquarters, a file room with blacklisted case folders. There, in a dusty cabinet, Bisi handed her a hidden file stamped confidential, top official protection. Inside was a photo of two infant girls, barely a year apart, clutched in a crying woman's arms. Written at the bottom, twin victims, trafficked separately, mother deceased, one girl untraceable. Name recovered, Chisom Amarachi Eze. The other girl, name changed, identity erased, last seen in the care of Madam Tessie. Chisom's head spun. You mean I had a sister all along? And Tessie has been raising her? Bisi nodded slowly. Not just raising, grooming. Your sister is her here. Chisom remembered a girl who always wore gloves, dark lipstick, cold eyes, always standing beside Tessie at parties but never speaking. She had seen her in Tessie's pictures but never realized. Her name? Zina. Chisom whispered the name like a prayer. She now had a twin sister raised by her enemy, trained to hate everything Chisom stood for. One night, Chisom received a message on her burner phone, a video file. She clicked. It was Zina, dressed in black, face emotionless, holding a bloodied rose. You think you are saving the world, sister? But the world you are saving destroyed her mother. You are not my savior. You are my final lesson. Zina raised a gun, and the screen cut to black. Chisom dropped the phone. She's coming for me. After watching Zina's video, Chisom did something she hadn't done in years. She called her foster auntie, the one who had cared for her briefly before she was taken by the system. Tell me the truth, Chisom whispered. Did I ever have a twin? Silence, then tears. Yes, 2 baby girls. Your mother named you Chisom and Zina. She tried to run with both of you, but the traffickers got her. She hid you under a bridge. Only one girl was found that night. The other was taken. Chisom could barely breathe. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because, my child, the ones who took her paid to erase her name. And when people pay enough, memory becomes illusory. At 4:03 a.m., Chisom received a private message. No test, just a location pin. She dressed quickly. No weapons, no backup. She knew this wasn't a trap. It was a summon from a sister who had been trained as a ghost. The location led to an abandoned theater, ironically called the Grey Stage. Inside, the red curtains had been drawn shut. One spotlight glowed on stage, and in it stood Zina, dressed in combat black, barefoot, hands behind her back. Zina. You look like her. Who? Our mother? Zina nodded slowly, then walked a slow circle around her. Tessie told me you died in the river, but then I saw videos, news reports, and I knew the ghost was back. My ghost. Chisom stepped forward. Zina, she lied to you. Zina cut her off. She raised me. She protected me. She gave me a name. You gave me a war. Chisom clenched her fist. She built you in pain. She weaponized your soul. Zina finally stopped circling. Then, let's see whose pain forged the stronger weapon. She dropped her coat, pulled a knife. It wasn't a full fight. It was an explosion of grief. Each stab, kick, and dodge carried years of silence. Zina screamed, "You left me!" Chisom shouted, "I never knew you existed!" Finally, Zina pinned Chisom down, blade at her throat, but instead of stabbing, she whispered, "She's going to kill you, just like she killed Mama." Chisom froze. She killed her mother? She wanted both of us. Mama refused, so she made her disappear. That's what loyalty cost Tessie. Zina dropped the blade. You want justice, I want vengeance. What do we do now? Chisom sat up, her voice calm. We end her together. Zina raised an eyebrow. You think I trust you? No, but you trust your hate. And right now, we want the same target. Zina pulled out a flash drive from her necklace. This has a backup client list, the offshore accounts, the judges she owns. Burn it right, and you take down half the city's elite. Chisholm took the drive. Let's burn them all. As they walked out of the theater, a red laser dot appeared briefly on Chisholm's shoulder. Zina saw it. She pushed her hard to the floor just as a shot rang out. The bullet missed, but the warning was clear. Zina growled. She knows we've joined forces, Chisholm whispered. Then she's afraid, and that means we are close. 2 days after the sisters formed their uneasy alliance, Chisholm's phone buzzed non-stop. Messages, calls, unknown numbers. The city's biggest TV station aired a prime-time expose, a scandalous story painting Chisholm as a corrupt criminal tied to human trafficking, money laundering, and bribery. But it was all lies. Chisholm Amarachi Eze, the face of a criminal empire. The footage showed blurry images of Chisholm near the underground safe house, taken from her own video leaks. The anchor's voice was sharp. Is this the real Chisholm Amarachi Eze, or just another wolf in sheep's clothing? In the chaos, Zina vanished. No calls, no text, no sign. Chisholm's heart pounded. Had Tessie already gotten to her? Bisi warned. Tessie is playing chess, not checkers. Zina might be bait. Chisholm received a sealed envelope with a note inside. Meet me at the old city hall by midnight. Come alone, or your sister dies. It was Tessie. Chisholm was torn. Go alone and risk her life, or refuse and risk losing the only family she has left? She picked up the flash drive from Zina, whispered to herself, for Mama, for justice. At the cracked steps of Old City Hall, Chisholm stood alone, heart raising. A silhouette emerged. Tessie, you are persistent, but naive. Chisholm's voice was steady. The lies don't scare me. You can't silence the truth. Tessie smiled coldly, raising a phone. You're on live. Say goodbye, Chisholm. Suddenly, the live broadcast flickered, but Tessie's phone froze, then shut down. Chisholm smirked. I have your secret, and so does the city. Tessie's eyes darkened. You think you've won? This is just the beginning. I own this city's shadows. She threw the note at Chisholm's feet. If only they knew, the real war has just started. Chisholm and Zina reunited quietly in a hidden apartment, poring over the files on their flash drive. They had everything: bank accounts, offshore companies, recorded bribes, and a secret ledger showing Tessie's involvement in crimes no one had dared speak of. Zina's voice was fierce. We broadcast this live. No edit, no filter. Let the city see who really rules. Chisholm nodded. Tonight, the truth breaks. Just before going live, Zina pulled out a faded letter they found hidden in their mother's belongings. Their mother's handwriting, fragile but clear. If you read this, it means I am gone. I try to protect you both from a world that wants to destroy us. You are stronger than they know. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Chisholm's eyes filled with tears. We finished this. For Mama. They hacked into Tessie's own media network. The screen flickered on to the city's biggest TV channel, live across the city. Chisholm's voice came clear. This is the story they didn't want you to hear. Files, videos, bank transfers, secret meetings, all played out, one after another. Tessie's carefully built empire was shown for what it was, a network of greed, fear, and betrayal. Security forces loyal to Tessie tried to cut the broadcast, but the city had already seen the truth. Protests erupted outside Tessie's mansion. The police, now aware of Tessie's crimes, moved in. Zina and Chisholm stood side by side as Tessie was arrested, her face twisted in rage and disbelief. The city began to yield. The sisters, once torn apart by fate, were now legends. They rebuilt their lives, working openly to protect the vulnerable and expose corruption. Chisholm looked at Zina, smiling softly. If only they knew the strength two lost sisters could find in each other. Zina nodded. If only they knew justice isn't just a dream, it's a fight worth fighting.